Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. If you love history, coins, and stories that carry the weight of time, you're in the right place. Now, let's step back in time and uncover the story of one small coin that's worth far more than its face value. As simple this coin 2-cent piece from South Africa, minted in 1981, at first glance, the 1981 South African 2-cent coin doesn't seem like much. Copper-colored, small, and modest. But like many things from the past, its real worth lies not in what it looks like, but in what it represents. This little coin carries within it a piece of South Africa's turbulent history, a story of change, resilience, and identity. The year 1981 was a complex time for South Africa. The world was watching a nation under immense pressure as the winds of change blew across the continent. It was the era of apartheid, and every symbol, from the flag to the money, carried political meaning. In the midst of it all, the South African Mint continued to produce coins that quietly told the story of the people, their land, and their heritage. Among them, the 2-cent coin was small, but it carried great significance that on one side of the coin, you find the graceful figure of the Cape Sparrow, or as it's known locally, the Mossie. This little bird wasn't chosen at random. It's a symbol of the everyday man, the worker, the farmer, the father providing for his family. The sparrow survives through storms and drought, a reminder of perseverance. To many, it represented the quiet strength of ordinary South Africans who kept their families together in difficult times. On the other side, the coat of arms of South Africa of that era stands proud. It's a crest that speaks of colonial legacies, unity, and the identity of a nation still finding its way. The Latin motto, ex unitate vires, means from unity, strength. For collectors and historians, this phrase hits differently when you realize how divided the country was at the time. The coin, in many ways, is a piece of hope, an ironical reminder of what South Africa could be if unity truly existed. The coin itself was made primarily of bronze, giving it a warm reddish tone. Over time, that tone deepens, developing a patina that collectors find irresistible. The size is small, about 18 millimeters across, but it carries immense historical weight. The craftsmanship is simple yet precise, as was typical of the South African Mint during the early 1980s. For many South Africans who lived through that time, this coin brings back memories. The sound of coins jingling in a pocket, the smell of old paper money, the trips to small corner shops where a few cents could still buy something. It was a time when value wasn't only measured in currency, but in effort and endurance. Every coin earned came from sweat, labor, and long hours of work. That's why even today, these coins stir a deep sense of nostalgia among older generations. Now, for collectors, the 1981 2-cent coin stands out because of its context and scarcity in higher grades. Most of these coins circulated heavily, losing their shine over decades of use. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is becoming increasingly rare. That's where its hidden power lies. To the untrained eye, it's just another coin. But to a seasoned collector, it's a doorway to a time gone by, a tangible piece of history you can hold in your hand. Coins like this remind us that history isn't only written in books, it's minted in metal. Each scratch tells a story, each shine a memory. And when you hold one, you're not just touching copper and bronze. You're touching the lives of countless people who once used it in their everyday routines. The next time you come across an old South African coin, don't rush to toss it aside. Take a closer look. That small disc of metal might have traveled through the hands of workers, soldiers, mothers, and merchants, each leaving an invisible fingerprint of their time. And now, here's the part that surprises most people. While its face value was just 2 cents, today, depending on its condition, rarity, and collector demand, this very 1981 South African 2-cent coin can be worth as much as $500. That's right, $500 for a coin that once couldn't even buy a loaf of bread. This coin, 1981, South Africa. 2 cents coin history. This coin, 1969, South African 2 cents coin, a small yet historically rich piece of currency that carries immense cultural and collector value. So, sit back and enjoy as we uncover the full story behind this rare treasure. The year 1969 was an interesting time in South African history. The country was in the middle of major political and economic changes, and its coinage reflected both national pride and colonial influence. The South African Mint continued producing coins that featured strong symbolic designs tied to the country's heritage, and among these was the humble 2-cent coin. The 1969 2-cent coin was part of the decimal series first introduced in 1961 when South Africa adopted the rand to replace the old British-based currency system. The new coins showcased designs unique to South Africa, representing its wildlife and traditions rather than British monarchs. This made the 1969 issue a continuation of that post-independence identity. That on the obverse, or front side of the coin, you'll find a portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator often recognized as the founder of Cape Town. His image was used on many South African coins during this period as a symbol of early European settlement and development. The design is detailed, showing Van Riebeeck in classic attire, surrounded by the words South Africa and Suid-Afrika, representing both English and Afrikaans languages. Turning the coin to the reverse side, we see a beautiful depiction of 2 sparrows, finely engraved and sitting gracefully on a branch. This design was created by artist C. L. Stewart, whose work added a gentle and natural charm to the series. Beneath the birds is the coin's denomination, 2C, and the year 1969. The artistry here symbolizes peace, simplicity, and the beauty of South Africa's natural life. The 1969 2-cent coin was made of bronze, composed mainly of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. It measured about 19 millimeters in diameter and weighed approximately 3.56 grams. These physical characteristics were typical for 2-cent coins of the time, but what makes the 1969 version stand out is its historical context and limited availability in top condition. Millions of these coins were minted for circulation, but over time, most were heavily used, worn down, or lost. This makes well-preserved specimens, especially uncirculated or proof condition coins, highly sought after by collectors today. The better the condition, the higher the value, with mint state examples being extremely rare. When collectors talk about rarity, it's not just about how many were made, but how many have survived in pristine form. The 1969 2-cent is one such case. Despite its original large mintage, few high-quality examples exist today, particularly those with sharp details, full luster, and no marks from circulation. The coin also represents an important chapter in South Africa's numismatic evolution. It sits in the middle of a transition period when the country's coinage design, materials, and minting techniques were improving. For historians, this makes the coin a snapshot of South Africa's economic development during the late 1960s. Collectors often appreciate the symbolic duality of the coin. It's both a relic of colonial legacy and a token of emerging national identity. This contrast makes it not just a monetary object, but a conversation piece, a small, round mirror reflecting South Africa's past. Now, let's talk about value, the part every collector waits for. While common circulated examples of the 1969 South African 2-cent coin may sell for just a few dollars, the story changes completely for coins in superb condition. A perfectly preserved or proof-struck version, with no wear and a sharp strike, has been known to fetch up to $75,000 among passionate collectors and at exclusive auctions. This high value reflects both its rarity and the strong demand among South African numismatists worldwide. Such value, however, depends greatly on authenticity and grading. Coins certified by professional grading services, such as NGC or PCGS, showing an MS65 or higher grade, are the ones that achieve premium prices. Always make sure to verify provenance and avoid cleaned or altered coins, as these significantly reduce collector interest. Owning a 1969 2-cent coin is like holding a small piece of South African history. It connects us to the country's journey through change, identity, and pride. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just starting your numismatic adventure, this coin can teach you about craftsmanship, symbolism, and value beyond metal. Every coin has a story to tell, and this coin 1969 South African 2 cents coin history, the coin 1988 South African 2-cent coin. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this little coin might just be sitting on a fortune. Let's take a close look at this 1988 2-cent coin. This was part of the final series of South African coins minted before the country underwent significant political and social changes. But what makes this coin so special, and why could it potentially be worth a jaw-dropping $2 million? Well, let's take a journey through its history, its rarity, and its potential value. Before we dive into the specifics of the coin itself, let's first set the stage. The 1988 2-cent coin was minted during a very interesting time in South Africa's history. The country was still under apartheid rule, and this period would end just a few years later in 1994 with Nelson Mandela's release. The coin was issued by the South African Reserve Bank and features a design that reflects the flora of the region. On the obverse side, we see the iconic springbok, antelope, which has been a symbol of South Africa for decades. The reverse features the denomination 2C and an intricate design of a protea, a national flower of South Africa. So, what's the deal with the 1988 2-cent coin? What makes it worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and condition. This coin was minted in much smaller numbers than you might expect, and today, finding one in mint or uncirculated condition is extremely rare. Coin collectors often look for specific traits that can drive up the value of a coin, such as its rarity, demand, and condition. A coin that is well preserved, with no signs of wear, scratches, or damage, is typically worth far more than one in poor condition. Now, how rare is this coin really? Well, there were only about 4.5 million of these coins minted in 1988. But what makes this even more interesting is that a lot of these coins were actually removed from circulation over time. Many of them were damaged or lost, and as a result, very few are still in good condition today. Coins in pristine or near-mint condition, especially those that are uncirculated or graded as MS65 or higher, can fetch astronomical prices at auctions. In fact, a few rare specimens of the 1988 2-cent coin have been known to reach values close to $2 million. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether your 1988 2-cent coin is valuable. Coin grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition based on its appearance. There are different systems for grading, but one of the most popular is the Sheldon scale, which rates coins from 1 to 70. To give you an idea, a coin graded MS65 means it's in near-perfect condition basically. A coin that's been preserved so well, it might as well have just been minted yesterday. Coins like that can be worth exponentially more than those with scratches, discoloration, or other imperfections. But here's something really important to know. With the potential for such high value, counterfeit versions of the 1988 2-cent coin have made their way into the market. So, how can you tell the difference between a genuine coin and a fake? One way to tell is by using a magnet. Real South African 2-cent coins are made from a copper-plated steel, which is magnetic. Fakes, however, might be made of other metals that don't have the same magnetic properties. Another important method is using a magnifying glass to inspect the fine details of the coin, looking for signs of wear or differences in the strike. Whether you have a single 1988 2-cent coin or an entire collection, there's a huge potential for valuable finds in your stash. A little research, combined with careful inspection and coin grading, can help you determine whether your coins are just regular change or potentially priceless treasures. So, If you have a 1988 South Africa 2-cent coin, or if you're thinking about starting a collection, remember that it's not just about the coins you have in hand. It's also about knowing the history, rarity, and condition that can influence their value. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a quick tip. Always store your rare coins in protective cases, and if you suspect you've got something valuable, don't hesitate to take it to a professional for grading or appraisal. Who knows? That 1988 South African 2-cent coin history __. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Coin Discovery Old Zone. See you next video.